sponsored by TradeView Markets. So today we have the Fed, everybody, a very important Fed meeting, considering what's happening with the banking system and liquidity having to be injected. So can the Fed inject liquidity and still continue on its inflation fight? I think that's what they're going to present today. I think Powell's going to say that they could chew gum and walk at the same time. So I still think he's going to go a quarter. Who knows? It could be the last one, but at this time, it looks like the markets would probably panic if he did nothing and decided to pause, because that would show he was worried. If he eased, that would cause a panic, I think, in my view. So let's talk about a couple of things to prep us for today. The euro has resistance up at this 108 level. We're starting to get a little three drive. My bias is to try the long side of the dollar. Very important levels coming up above this 123 level. You could see in cable, we're also diverging. But when I look at the picture in euro pound, it's pretty trendless. In fact, it looks like if someone put a gun in my head that there's going to probably be a rally in euro pound. So I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on the pound, because if I go the daily, I know there are a ton of stops over 124.50, that little double top that we have here. And it's going to be interesting to see if these are magnets to draw liquidity to and clean out stops above 124. I actually think there's a chance that we could fail to do so and then turn back down. And then next time back under these lows, you have a pretty good break setting up. So say we peak around 2380, and this low was 18. So 5 under 118 is going to give you 113, which can be about halfway back. I'm looking for a dollar rally here, everybody. I talked about it Monday. I'm going to be looking to buy the DXY. So if I can't decide between euro and cable, because euro pound is unclear to me, here's a simple solution. Just go DXY. All right. I know it's more heavily weighted euro. It has less beta. Might be a little bit more forgiving because you're not going to have the same kind of moves. But I'm anticipating a low that holds 102, and then we start another rally phase, something like we had here that could take us up towards 107, 108. So that's my call on the dollar. We had a real big break yesterday in the gold. Silver held up much better, but pretty big break in the gold. It's challenging the breakout from, this is like a weekly breakout line. And if we close beneath it, it'll make it look like a false breakout, and we could get a pretty sharp correction. So we need one more wave down so that we confirm this is a high and that we're not going to rally to above new highs. But let me just show you something that has me convinced we could be patient, whether or not there's one more jiggle to the upside. I'll also be watching silver up here, which held up much better than gold yesterday. That's why the gold silver ratio kind of reminds me of euro pound. Hard to have a lot of confidence in direction right here. Here's a little shorter term view. You can see we're in kind of a back in major support, or we can hold it, or we're going to break down. My bias is that we hold it. So if that's the case, I'll be looking at silver. In fact, if you're a viewer, you probably know what I'm looking at right here. First of all, you could count three here. You have one confirmed high. You have two divergent high. You have three still diverging from the primary, but not as good. But look where the RSI is now. So if we had a push to new highs in silver, up above the highs here are 70, I believe. You had 22.70 with a 40-50 cent rally in here. You could end up with your third drive having a 3 in it, I'll be looking at attempting shorts up here around if we rally up towards 2280 or so, because I don't believe we're going to confirm here. S&Ps, you have to respect the action and how it's held. It's above a breakout line here. I've been talking about 4100 as being a possibility. That could happen any day now. And just want to show the miners real quickly why I think we could wait, especially the silver miners. So here's Newmont after yesterday. Pretty negative day. Let's just go the daily on these. Pretty negative day. You know, if we're starting a correction here, why can't we pull back to 44? Why can't we make another new low? Similar in GDX. Most people try and buy a break, a pullback, a retracement of this initial move. But why can't we have this from here if gold corrects to 1800? Still not make new lows on the GDX, which is 21, but why can't we trade 25 to 24 on one more pullback? B2 gold could be a bear flag, right? Doesn't look great to me. Here's the silver juniors. They look like they could make new lows here. Let me go to 4 hours. Not the low at $8, but lower lows on this correction. See what happens down here. To me, you know, you had a confirmed low here. So let's see if we get some type of flush in the weeks ahead. You don't want to own AG. They're having all kinds of problems. I was talking about the relative weakness in First Majestic for about 6 months. And here's a couple looks. Here's Endeavor. Perhaps we get a pullback in this one. This is something I'll be looking for. If Endeavor can hold above the 280 level, while Fortuna takes out this level and trades down towards 287, 260, that's going to be a great tell for Endeavor. So good luck on the Fed, everyone. My bias is to look for long dollar positions. I think you could be patient about the metals. Oh, one other thing, we did start to get a little bit of a turn in WTI, and it's following through again here today. We have two drives right here. Pretty glaring divergence. I wouldn't be short oil. Let's see if perhaps we could get some type of pullback here to get a right shoulder, and then maybe we could rally back to $76. I know a lot of people are getting pretty bulled up. So I just wanted to show that. And then the yield chart. So I think yields are going to come back just like the yen. Yields have bounced back pretty good from 330 to 360. I still think there's 370 in it, but the better short is going to be TLT. And I believe that TLT, there's a possibility it could pull all the way back towards this 98, these levels right here under par. So that's a little too small. Let's look at the daily, you'll see it. So what we could have here is, you know, this is corrective, have one more push under 100. Maybe by then SPX is peaking, okay? And then we have another flight to quality or more banking problems begin to show up. And then we could have another flight to quality. Actually, the formation, if you just call it an ascending triangle and call 108 the top level, well, let me draw it for you. Because this is an important chart. You know why? This is what led the whole decline last year. And that's, you know, here's the reason for the losses of SVB and a lot of these other banks is because they held treasuries from Civil War low rates a year ago. So there's your flat top. And no, you know, and maybe this is your ascending trend line. Maybe we give it room for another test down here around 98. And that's your descending, ascending triangle right there. And it measures 16. 16 from 108 gives you 124. So let's see where 124 comes in on the weekly. And normally in a bond environment like this, and gold went with the bonds. Yeah, here's your, 124 levels where we really started accelerating. And one other thing, the other haven that's been really had a tremendous run, the cryptos, to me, look like they're trying to put in some type of top here. Let me just show the 4 hour where we could have see all this divergence developing in Bitcoin, and Ethereum has tried to fight its way back here. Perhaps there's just a stop hunt over 1840, but I'd say book them, Dano, and that there could be a pretty good pullback setting up here in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin and Ethereum, I would not be long anymore. See how long we've been diverging all the way back to, I know it doesn't seem like a long time, the 14th. So this was your confirmed high, and all these successive highs have lower momentum. I think a topping situation is here. And in Ethereum, I tried it early in the week. It was good for about 60 bucks. But if we get a stop hunt above these highs, and I'm sure there's a buy stop here, buy stop here, buy stop here, look for a stop hunt, let it take out those levels, and the next time back underneath these levels is your signal. So good hunting today with the Fed. Remember, it's okay to do nothing and be a spectator. Markets will be here. Make sure your equity is, and don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See you in the room. Mike will be up in an hour and a half. Adios.